Hey, so how's everybody's mom-o-meters today? I love the mom-o-meter, since I saw that from the North Wilmington Moms page. Mom-o-meter is perhaps the cringiest fucking thing. It's got to be weird, man. Like, what's it like when you become a living caricature? Like, these people behave in a way that you would see in a skit on Saturday Night Live, where somebody was like goofing on people who get overzealous about being a mom and shit. And I guess there's no like introspection, like they don't take time to sit and reflect on how they're presenting themselves, I mean, at least I know I'm a douchebag when I talk to myself in the van, but they seem to be completely like there's no self-awareness whatsoever. Anyway, fuck them. So you know what happens when you come back from a vacation on a Monday? You go back to work on Tuesday, and in your head you think it's Monday. And that might lead you to forget that it's half-price movie night at Penn Cinema, or what I like to call Walmart shopper movie night. And then you'll say, hey, we should go see Terminator Dark Fate. And boy, should you not have done that. There's this new thing going on. And maybe this child could use some mom-o-metering. We went to see Terminator Dark Fate because the reviews I read were pretty cool. Some of the critics I like dug it. And, I was like, well, you know what? Maybe it'll be fun. Maybe it'll be a good time. They were saying it's the best Terminator since Terminator 2, which isn't a high bar, but, what the hell? I figured, it's Monday night, but it was Tuesday. See, keep following that pattern. So anyway, we get there, and in comes this family who clearly have been raised in the wild. They bring a 5-year-old little girl to see the Terminator Dark Fate. I believe it's rated R. I'm not 100% on that. There were lots of F-bombs, I know that. Some serious fucking violence. So, not only did they feel that they could bring a small child to a film like this, they felt she required no supervision whatsoever. That she should be able to freely yell out whatever she felt like she needed to. And, when that got boring, jump on the seats as if they were a trampoline. And then not even remain in her own seat to do this. So, what's worse? North Wilmington moms? Or that kind of a parent? I don't know. I think there needs, like with everything, like with the libtard and the Trump pansy and all these things, there needs to be a middle ground, a happy medium. What did Jesus say? Do all things in moderation or some shit like that? Something along those lines. And always be metal as fuck, bro. I think that was what Jesus said. Anyway, it made for a rather unpleasant viewing. So the lesson, kids, stay the fuck away from half-price / Walmart shopper movie night at the Penn Cinema or the Regal. They have it there too. I think they all do the Tuesday night thing. It brings out the dregs of humanity. It really does. They treat the movie theater like their own living room. And if I ran things, well, they wouldn't be around much longer. But that's why my Kickstarter failed, as we talked about before. Speaking of Terminator Dark Fate, I guess maybe I should give it a review. It bombed tremendously at the box office opening weekend. $29 million, which for a tentpole film like this, that's not good. That's bad. That's telling everybody that America just doesn't have interest in Terminators anymore. And I think that's for a good reason. This film was essentially the same thing you have seen, rehashed, except now our protagonist was a Latina chick. She's the new, Sarah Connor / John Connor. I won't give away too much of the plot there, but that's the general gist. I think you can pick that up from the trailer. Arnold's in it as an old Terminator. For some reason, he ages. They don't explain why. Because fuck you, that's why. You know, we need to have Arnold back in it. So what if a robot gets old? And Linda Hamilton returns as a grizzled Sarah Connor. The Terminator, the new Terminator, is pretty cool. I mean, the effects are great. The action was cool. But it's the same story again. We're sending a Terminator back from the future to kill this person who, in the future, will cause a huge problem for the robot empire that is, you know, killing everything off or whatever. The problem with that, from a time standpoint, is that the future, no matter what, is a result of the past. So, you never killed Sarah Connor. You never killed this girl. What was her name? Danny. You never killed Danny. Because if you did, she wouldn't have existed for you to send the Terminator back. See how that works? There would be no reason. But B, the past in a future timeline is always the past. You've always failed, no matter what. The minute you think that we should send the Terminator back, somebody else should go, well, no, we shouldn't, because if she's here now, obviously it failed. It didn't work. That's how that works. And the other time, you know, if we're getting into time theory, you got string theory, right? So you sent the Terminator back, it kills Danny, creates a new timeline where Danny never existed to fuck with the robots, right? But that doesn't affect the timeline that the Terminator came from. So essentially it would be like this. Let's say I sent me back, or some kind of robot back, to tell me, hey dude, don't become a hardwood floor guy. It's really not the greatest thing in the world when you're fucking almost 50, you know? And then I go, oh, thanks for the fucking lesson there, buddy. And I choose a different career path, right? That Joe, he's something else right now. But you know what I'm doing? I'm still here driving the Wayne, talking to myself in the fucking van. See how that works? That's string theory. There's just alternate, more strings come off the timeline and alter, but your timeline stays the same. Doesn't fucking matter. So even if they killed Danny, it didn't help them in their future Terminator inhabited planet. Didn't do anything for them. So that's how that works. It never made sense from the outset, even going back to Arnold. Never made sense. Still continues not to make sense. And they didn't try to make it make any more sense than, you know, they did in the past, because, again, fuck you, that's why. We've got Arnold, we've got Linda Hamilton. See, shiny jingly keys, people. Come to the movies. And Joe's dumb, and he did, because he thought it was fucking Monday, but it was Tuesday. So he dealt with a family that I wish somebody sent Terminators back in time to fucking kill. You know? But things don't always go my way. One last final note. While I was in Woodstock, I was watching Dolemite Is My Name, right? Which I've always been a fan of Rudy Ray Moore. Growing up, Petey Wheatstraw, Dolemite, Disco Godfather, Avenging Disco Godfather, all those things. I used to watch those films. And so I was, pretty excited to see this film, and it was very good. In fact, spend your time with that instead of Terminator Dark Fate, right? Eddie Murphy, he plays basically Eddie Murphy as Rudy Ray Moore, which I didn't really, he could have put a little more effort into that, but hey, what are you going to do? It still was good. I liked it, but it reminded me of something. About 12 years ago, I used to do a podcast with this broad, and the movie Black Dynamite was coming out. And so the trailer drops, and it's all the talk of the film circuit, the film festival circuit. Everybody's talking about Black Dynamite. So I catch the trailer, we're doing the podcast, and I just start going off on a rant, because I didn't really get what they were doing. So I just started ranting, like, fuck this is just, the guy just remade Dolemite in a weird way. This director's a hack, fuck this guy. I start going on a rant. About 2 weeks later, the chick I'm doing the podcast with calls me up, and she says, holy shit, the fucking director of Black Dynamite emailed us. He wants to come on and talk about it. Now, I'm just some fucking dope. So, obviously, I'm in a pickle now. I just talk shit on this guy. I got no business, I've never made a film, nothing, so I have no business saying fucking dick. And now he wants to come talking, so, it's one of them things where you got to watch what you say on the internet, kids. So anyway, he comes on, and she says to him, first we have to ask you, how did you hear that we were talking about you? And you're going to like this because now I'm even more of a douchebag. But hey, you already knew that. He says, well, I set a Google alert for anything Black Dynamite. And I went home for Thanksgiving. And my mom, and, she's in the kitchen, cooking, and she's asking me to set the table. And we're all just sitting around, and we're prepping for Thanksgiving. The family's there. And he goes, and I get an alert. So I said, hey, somebody's talking about my film. Why don't we put it on the stereo? So they do. And he goes, and the next thing I know, in front of my whole family, Joe's telling me to go fuck myself and that I'm a hack. So you see, this is the kind of human being I am. Just a terrible, awful person. I don't try to be, though. I try to be decent, I think, sometimes, But anyway, so I thought I'd tell you that. Maybe it'll put a little spring in your step today, thinking about Joe just getting fucking pwned left and right, trying to go see Terminator, and then being confronted by a family of wildlings, and then having to confront the fact that even if he could time travel and stopped himself from being in this van right now, he'd still be here. Just another version of him might be in a better place, mentally. And finally, that, the first encounter I ever had with a Hollywood type was me telling him to fuck himself on Thanksgiving in front of his family. What are you going to do? I'm a low quality. I'm from Chester, Pennsylvania. What do you want from me? It's lucky I'm doing as good as I am as a human.